And local, it's time for Fan Sports Sunday. If the weekend is a big desert for sports talk, think of this show as an oasis.
Yes, here we go.
Come drink from our pool of hot takes as you quench your thirst with. I thought I was going somewhere, but I'm not. So let's just start the show.
Good Sunday afternoon to you. A little Fan Sports Sunday sprint here as we head to the final game of the Reds-Brewers series that you can hear coming up at 1:10 here on The Fan. I am Ryan Baker. He is Cole Bartemes. The man you heard on the updates on the other side of the glass is Nate Puterball, and we are glad to have you along for this Fan Sports Sunday. And Cole, this is one you and I have been talking about for a while, as we've worked together for a while, but we have not done a show together. Super pumped for this one.
I know, man. We've been fast friends ever since I got here about a year ago, and this is the first time we ever got to be in the studio together. We had a little bit of crossover. I was on Bishop and Friends here and there, running the board. Maybe there was a day I was filling in for Reese or whatever, but this is the first time and now I got to warn you, I can't keep a co-host apparently, because this is time number 8 that I'm co-hosting, and this is co-host number 7. So congratulations to Dylan Tyre for being the only repeat offender. But as the trends are going, it may not last.
And as you, as somebody who used to be a swing guy around here, you get that. There's a lot there's a lot of people that you end up on the weekends.
Did you hear what
doing shows?
Did you hear the show open? We don't even know the names of who's going to be on the show, so we're not even going to put any names.
I mean,
there.
it's not even Elon Musk anymore. You used to get Elon Musk at least on the show open, but not anymore. And listen, there is a lot to talk about, right? We're going to get into some of the reaction to the Michigan penalties. I'm going to love to hear your thoughts on that. And when we were on Bishop and Friends the other day, some of this stuff started to leak out, but not all of it. Like, all of it was going on while you guys were on the air for Rothman and Ice on Friday. But I'm excited to get your thoughts on that. We'll also talk a little bit about this idea that the Big Ten has thrown out that just gets my blood boiling.
This
about
bad idea.
expanding the college football playoffs to 24, 28 teams, something like that. Oh, goodness gracious. It just makes me upset. But I wanted to talk about some happy things before we got into all of that. We're 13 days away from Ohio State, Texas, week 1. Obviously, week 0, we're 6 days away here from the start of college football, but 13 days away from what really, really matters to most people here in Central Ohio. And Ohio State had their final scrimmage yesterday. We'll start to hear some things from that tomorrow when Ryan Day and Brian Hartline and Matt Patricia hit the podium after practice tomorrow, probably somewhere around 11:45 or noon. But we did find out yesterday that Ohio State named their captains. And I thought there were a couple things interesting with this. The captains for this season, Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, Austin Sareveld, and Brandon Ennis. Sonny Styles voted the Block O recipient, so he will wear the jersey 0 this year in honor of Bill Willis. But I thought it was pretty interesting, a couple things here. Number one, last year it was such a senior-laden group of leaders on this Ohio State team. Only one senior this year as a captain, and that's Sonny Styles. Austin Sareveld, we've heard a ton about the growth he has made this offseason. Caleb Downs, we knew he was good when he was getting here, and everybody said he's like another coach on the field, lining everybody up. Brandon Ennis,
yeah, I know.
Not even
Shocked
a
me.
starter before on this team, and he's the 3rd wide receiver on this team this year, so he will be a starter this year, but I thought it was very interesting that Brandon Ennis, kind of a surprise, was one of the captains this year.
Yeah, no question about it. I think the entire world probably could have predicted Sonny Styles. A lot of people here just in talking in the back offices were like, yeah, it'll probably be the Block O guy. But that one, and then Caleb Downs, you think maybe like a lead by example sort of guy because he's probably the best player on that defense. But you hit it right on the head. Brandon Ennis was a shocker here. And obviously you and I are not in the locker room, and I'm not going to try to assume, what his role is or leadership. That's for the people in the locker room. But this has to be really telling for a guy who didn't even rotate that much on the field last year. It was pretty set of 3 with Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Egbuka, and Cardinal Tate. Brandon Ennis kind of rotated in a little bit with Tate, but it was pretty set with those three. And so for a guy who, as you said, wasn't even a starter last year, is now projected to be a starter this year, and I'm sure will have a pretty solid impact in what I assume will be, and Tim May is ranting and raving about this receiver room, so who knows what the rotation outside of Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate's going to look like. There might be some other guys who are fighting with him, but this definitely says a lot about Brandon Inniss and what he's been doing there.
I agree with that. And, somebody else who's been really high on Brandon Inniss is our friend Nicole Sheeran. She has been really, really high on Brandon Inniss this year, saying that he's going to be a guy that's going to have a breakout season. I just think it's like the difference that we're going to have with this Ohio State football team last year compared to this year, where last year you had so many senior dudes, so many guys that came back to play their football. This year, we know this team is uber talented. Ohio State is every year, but it's kind of unproven. And I think the crazy thing about this team is the upside, I feel like, of this team might be a little higher than last year, especially on the defensive side.
They won the championship. Their upside was the championship.
But I'm just saying in like explosiveness and, maybe a team that could put up a lot of points. I think this defense this coming year in the back seven, I think the potential is endless.
The conversations that people are having about these linebackers is crazy.
Yes, and I think Ohio State has 5 cornerbacks in Davison Igmanosin, Jermaine Matthews, Aaron Scott Jr., Devin Sanchez, and Bryce West, who not a lot of people talk about Bryce West. Yeah. That dude, that Glenville pipeline, he can play a little bit. I think they have 5 cornerbacks that could start anywhere in the country.
Oh, God, you're starting to sound like Adam King. Did you see on our show that Adam King said that Lincoln Kienholz would start at every school not named Ohio State or Texas? So he basically said that Lincoln Kienholz is the 3rd best quarterback in the country. You're bordering on that territory.
Listen, I love Lincoln. I think Lincoln's a good quarterback, but he's not starting over Cade Klubnik. He's probably not starting over Carson Beck. He's not starting over
Drew Aller.
Garrett Nussmeier. So
that list
I get it.
is pretty.
Yeah.
Lenora Sellers.
Yeah.
And those are the good ones. There are probably some decent quarterbacks out there. But anyway.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's how deep though and like Aaron Scott and Bryce West, those are Ohio guys. Like I've seen them play with my own 2 eyes.
Here's what plays to Ohio State's advantage though in all of this, because it does scare me a little bit how much they lost. I remember I was watching the draft and all my friends, all Buckeye fans, they're all going crazy with we didn't really know how many were going to go in the first round. Emeka was pretty much a lock, and then there were a few borderline guys. And then Donovan goes, and then Tyleek goes, and then at the very end at 32, Josh Simmons goes. And so it's like, man, they snuck in 4, and then they come back for Friday night for round 2, and they're all flying off the board. JTT's going off the board. The running backs are going off the board. And everyone's losing their minds. And I'm like, dang, they're losing a lot of talent next year. And we knew that last year, as you said, very senior-driven team. A lot of guys who could have gone after the Mizzou game decided to come back. And so we knew that. But what plays to Ohio State's advantage is that I don't think there is a head and shoulders favorite in college football. Texas is losing a lot. I think Texas is very, very talented. And much like Ohio State, even when you lose a lot of talent, and Texas, the big scare with me is they're losing 4 of their starting 5 offensive linemen from last season, including both tackles. And
the guy that was supposed to play a right tackle this year is out for the year.
Yeah,
now,
and so that competition is no longer a competition because they got one guy now. And so there isn't anybody, I think, who is head and shoulders above anybody. Penn State, I guess, like they kind of profile the way you would want, bringing back a ton of starters from a team that, if their cornerback doesn't fall down basically against Notre Dame late in that game and give up a 50-yard touchdown, Penn State's probably in the national championship last year. And so, but we know who their head coach is and we can't trust him. But with everybody else, everybody's flawed, man. So you are in a situation, this is a very fortunate position to be in with the 12-team playoff, so you get multiple mulligans, as much as I hate that, because the college football regular season, it used to be a race for the top, and now that doesn't even matter. Like, the chase for number 1 doesn't even matter. So you get your mulligans, you're starting out with a tough test in Texas, easy for me to say, and you're going to find out a lot about yourself, and then you can kind of, as the other games come along, the Illinois, the Penn States, the Michigans get better and better and better. I think you're in a position this season where that's, I don't want to say an advantage, But my whole point is no one has an advantage. There isn't some head and shoulders team. So you can go through those growing pains this year in a way that you probably couldn't have in years past.
Oh, and of course, with that, only the no clear favorite, but you've got the 12-team playoff now. And that's where I say, like, Ohio State, and we talked about this, and I had some people on the YouTube pushing back on this. Ohio State last year during the regular season, even in games they won, like the Oregon game, I think Ohio State played pretty good in that game. I think that was the two best teams going head-to-head in the country. But a lot of games Ohio State won, you were like, man, this just doesn't look right.
Nebraska game?
What's going on? Yeah, like they won, but this doesn't look good. Even the Indiana game, it took a blocked punt to kind of change the momentum in that game. And Indiana was a good team last year, but I don't think anybody thought they were on the level of Ohio State. And then the Michigan game, and you're like, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
Like, what is this? But that lit a fuel under them, and they get into the college football playoff, and they run wild, and have the Tennessee game that rolls into the Oregon game, and they beat Texas and then get Notre Dame in the national championship game. That's what this Ohio State team, especially at the beginning of the year, there's going to be growing pains, I think, because you mentioned all the people you're replacing. 8 starters on defense. Not only that, you're replacing both coordinators as well, which I don't think enough people are talking about.
That's a great point.
But by the end of the year, come November and a college football playoff, this Ohio State team could again be a team that catches fire, and nobody wants to play because these guys that were inexperienced will now be experienced at the end of the year.
Yeah, and Ohio State is favored in all their big games, by the way. They're 2.5 over Texas. This one's a little bit scary to me. 13.5-point favorite on the road.
That's a lot in Champaign.
In Champaign at Illinois. That's going to be Illinois' Super Bowl for like the past 2 decades, since 2007, basically.
Yeah.
Since the last time they beat Ohio State. That's going to be probably the biggest game in that program's history since then, just about. I think they had some Rose Bowls in like 08, 09, whatever, the Juice Williams years and with Michael LaShore. You're minus 3.5 at home against Penn State, and you're minus 5.5 at Michigan. Obviously, I don't think there's any sort of variable in the equations for the odds makers in terms of just like, can this dude beat Michigan for once? He did it pre-COVID, but it's been a while. Mm-hmm. And last year, I think, scared the you-know-what out of Buckeye fans because you could kind of justify previous years as, but they were stealing signs. And then this past year, you were way better than them. So we'll kind of hold off on the Michigan thing. But regardless, you're favored over everybody. And so I don't know. Maybe there are some like real Clemson believers out there. I'm not really one of them this year. But as much as you have to replace, there are other teams. Texas has to replace a ton too. And you can go through these growing pains because no one is head and shoulders above anybody.
Speaking of that team and them, as you just said, I don't want to do it, but we've got to do it. The penalties for Michigan or lack thereof were handed out on Friday. We will discuss those next. It's Fan Sports Sunday. Ryan Baker, Cole Bartemes on the Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
Columbus, the Blue Jackets schedule is out. And you can lock in your seats with ticket plans starting at just 11 games. Don't miss a moment of the action. Visit BlueJackets.com.
Hi, welcome to IKEA. Hi, I'm in a whirlwind of college prep. Gotcha. We've got affordable solutions to create the perfect college living space. Great. And visit our website to see how verified college students with an IKEA family account can receive a one-time use 15% off coupon.
Nice. You guys think of everything.
Pretty much. Offer ends 9/30/25. Valid ID required. Discount applied proportionally across items purchased as shown on receipt. See IKEA-USA.com/ready for college for complete terms.
Cash for Clunkers continues during the Honda Summer Event at Lindsay Honda.
Listen up, Columbus. Cash for Clunkers is big money towards your next ride.
Up to $3,500 minimum for your trade.
Use it for the down payment, negative equity, or keep the cash.
Lease a new 2025 HR-V two-wheel drive LX or 2026 Civic four-door LX for just $299 a month. Zero cash down. Just bring us your clunker. Shop Lindsay Honda, the big Honda store now. For details, visit lindsayhonda.com.
In this time of financial instability, create your own personal safety net by using the equity in your home to secure a home equity line of credit. It'll give you immediate access to money whenever you need it, whether it's for a fun project or a big purchase or in case you fall on hard times. And for a limited time, you can lock in a 1.99% introductory APR for 6 months at Kemba Financial Credit Union. Give yourself peace of mind. Apply now at Kemba.org. APR equals annual percentage rate. Federal insured by NCUA. Equal housing lender. Offer ends September 30th. NMLS 292230.
When it comes to your roofing, siding, or gutter needs, call Newman Roofing. 614-NEW-ROOF. NewmanRoofing.com.
I'm here with my friend Bob Capace from Worthington Jewelers. Bob, I hear you guys are having a big sale.
You know it, Common Man. Can you believe it? We're celebrating our 25-year anniversary.
August 19th through the 23rd, you can save up to 60% off in-stock jewelry.
And we'll have surprises and giveaways in the store all week long.
25 years of Capace goodness. He's my guy. Remember the dates. August 19th through the 23rd. Worthington Jewelers on High Street in Worthington. WorthingtonJewelers.com.
We could tell you what makes Giant Eagle special, but we think our customers say it best.
I love the fresh produce. I love the fresh meat.
I'm pretty sure the fish guy knows me by now. We're buds.
I love to grill. That alone keeps me coming back.
The people that work here are so nice and so helpful.
Everybody loves the cakes from Giant Eagle.
On every shelf, in every department, we're always going for better because being your Giant Eagle matters.
This is my Giant Eagle.
This is my Giant Eagle.
This is my Giant Eagle.
Other stations have crappy ratings and they wonder why no one listens. So instead of investing money in local talent, they fire people and plug in AI voices. Gee, real entertainment. Well, all of our dummies are real, damn it. The Fan, Ohio's real human destination.
The season may be winding down, but there's still time to make the most of Buckeye Lake. At Buckeye Lake Marina, we have year-end deals on boats, accessories, and more to get you ready for next year's adventures. The Buckeye Lake Marina staff is there to help you find the perfect boat at unbeatable prices. Buckeye Lake Marina has a long list of satisfied customers, and you want to be the next. Don't wait. Sail into savings at Buckeye Lake Marina before the year ends and find the boat that's just right for you. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com for more.
Hi, I'm Dr. John Runyon from Runyon Dental Group. Are you missing teeth or do you have uncomfortable dentures? Dental implants can not only transform your smile, they can restore your confidence and allow you to eat those foods you love that you've been missing. When I was in my early 30s, I was in a similar situation needing complex dental work and dental implants. I understand all the emotions that you're feeling because I've been the patient and I know that we can help you. Schedule a free consultation today at RunyonDentalGroup.com. That's RunyonDentalGroup.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
At United Dairy Farmers, Peach is our most popular ice cream, and once you taste it, you'll know why. Now's the time to grab a UDF Peach Shake, malt, cone, or sundae. They're only here for a limited time. UDF Peach Ice Cream, made for you.
Skyline is introducing a new chicken chili. Come get that world-famous Skyline flavor you love with a new protein option. Try the new Skyline chicken chili on Waze, Coney's, and all your Skyline favorites. At Columbus Skyline locations only while supplies last.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Aaron White here with your 10 weather impact forecast for your Sunday. We're tracking mostly cloudy skies, but sunshine for this afternoon and highs in the upper 80s to low 90s. We are also tracking the chance for a shower or thunderstorm here for today. And then as we head into the work week, more sunshine with upper 80s to low 90s here on Monday and Tuesday. And that's a look at your 10 weather impact forecast here on 97.1 The Fan.
Bo Bishop is a media legend. We have no idea where the other guys came from. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan. Garnish your Bloody Mary with sports talk. You're listening to Fan Sports Sunday.
Welcome back in, Fan Sports Sunday. We got about 50 more minutes. Then the Cincinnati Reds and Milwaukee Brewers pregame coverage on the Reds radio network takes over. The Reds trying to avoid being swept for the first time all year. And maybe we'll talk a little Reds later on towards the end, but Man, what a frustrating last 2 days for Reds fans. They should have won both games against Milwaukee, and they absolutely did not do that. They lost both of those games. A lot of Buckeye fans were thinking and hoping and wishing that Michigan was going to get hammered for the Connor Stalions sign-stealing saga. And I think most Buckeye fans are still wanting and waiting, right? Like now it's, well, they didn't really do anything. They won the national championship. They paid $20-30 million, whatever these fines are going to end up being to win a national championship. And it sure seems like that. The NCAA handed down their penalties. Michigan gets 4 years of probation.
Whatever.
A $50,000 fine plus 10% of the football team's budget. A fine equivalent to the loss of 2 postseasons, which that's significant.
Yeah.
That's probably, a lot of people say that could end up being like $35 million that they don't get in postseason revenue the next couple of years. Now, remember, that's also not just what they have if they go to a college football playoff or a bowl game, but that's Big Ten numbers too. Like, if Ohio State goes out this year and wins the national championship again, the whole Big Ten gets a cut of that.
Yeah. Well, not the whole Big Ten now. Only 17 of them.
Yeah. So Michigan,
air quotes, only 17 schools get to split that
Michigan's
money.
out of that now.
Exactly.
A fine equivalent to the cost of 10% of all football scholarships. A 25% reduction in recruiting visits for the upcoming season. A 14-week where they cannot go out and leave campus for recruiting. Connor Stalions, an 8-year show cause penalty from the NCAA. Jim Harbaugh, a 10-year show cause added to his already 4-year show cause. So
neither of those two are coming back.
14-year show cause. Denard Robinson, a 3-year show cause. And then we know that Michigan had self-imposed a 2-game suspension on Sharon Moore. That will be the 3rd and 4th games of this season. And then a 1 game was added to that, which will be the first game of the year, I believe, in 2026. So he's going to miss their Germany game against one of the directional Michigans.
I was about to say, guess the conference.
And he
Bet
also
you it's Mid-American.
has a 2-year show cause penalty, which, Cole, was the most ridiculous thing out of all this to me. He's still coaching.
Yeah.
He's still their head coach. Like, how can you have a show cause penalty for a guy who is currently the head coach? Like, do they have to show before this year when he coaches?
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
I don't understand that either. I think, honestly, the biggest win out of this for Buckeye fans is probably the part that we talked about with the money in the playoffs, where if you were to, like, kind of poke fun at any Michigan fans that you know, it would be, haha, like, you don't get any of this money and everyone else does. Like, I guess. But I don't know. Look, the fact of the matter is, they couldn't do a ton. The suspension, I guess, would have been something that people wanted more, and to basically validate Michigan's imposed suspension and just letting it be weeks 3 and 4. Very convenient that Sharon Moore gets to coach against Oklahoma in week 2. How about that? Okay, that's not very surprising that Michigan would have wanted that. I'm surprised, though, that the NCAA just approved of that, and then just adding 1 more game, whatever. Like you said, probably a school that no one cares about, that's not going to push Michigan whatsoever in the game. I have seen some conversation about people, and this is stupid that I'm even mentioning this because giving credence to people online is not the way to go. But I've seen people being upset that no wins got vacated. Who cares about vacating wins? So that part I had no problem with because those games took place. There were 2 teams. There was a winner and a loser, and we watched them. And if you didn't watch them, they're probably on YouTube. You can go watch them right now. So pretending like those games didn't exist is stupid to me.
I'm with you on the vacated wins. Like, I think that's dumb. Like, I've talked about this a lot. Ohio State doesn't have a banner in the shot anymore. This is 1999 Final Four. But I watched it. I saw it. I remember it. It happened.
The Astros won the World Series. Sorry.
I think the one thing with that in Michigan and Ohio State fans is Michigan fans love to say they are the all-time leader in wins, and then they wouldn't be anymore. And I think that's one thing you could get at them. But, yeah, I'm with you. It doesn't matter. Like, those games happen.
If you're flexing wins from the 1930s, GFY. But the thing that's interesting is how much money they're losing, because you said they could be losing somewhere $20-30 million. It'll be interesting to see how that impacts recruiting. And so it's kind of funny how this works, because the whole timeline to this, first of all, this took forever just to get to this point. We're basically 2 calendar years removed from when this actually became a thing in the middle of the 2023 football season. So, I don't know. Let's just call it October of 2023. We're almost to October of 2025. So, it already took forever to get here. Michigan recruiting, give them credit, been pretty good. They're spending a lot of money. They got boosters. They got the dude who's the CEO of Oracle who has a wife, girlfriend, mistress, whatever she is, who likes Michigan and is getting him to sign up for a lot of money. And so what's going to happen with all this money? Is the recruiting going to take a hit from Michigan? That's something that we won't really know for another 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 years. And so it's weird how we won't really see the effects of this like until 7 years removed from the cheating that actually took place. That's bogus, but it's I'm sorry, catch them sooner.
You mentioned Larry Ellison, and I think of a guy like Dave Portnoy.
Yep.
As far as the money with the recruiting aspect of this, I don't know if that's going to matter, because how can you get around that in NIL, and can you avoid those things? Will these guys just pay for it? I don't know. It's all interesting, and it's all part of the ever-changing part of sports in the NCAA. I don't know how you feel about all this, Cole. I'm just glad it's over with and we can move on. I am one who has said, and it was weird, when Friday came, there was still a part of me that was like, even though I thought it was going to be something like this and Ohio State fans weren't going to get the pound of flesh that they wanted, there was part of me that when it came out was like, yeah, I can't believe this. Even though you knew that that was going to be the case, me personally, I can tell you in 2023, when Michigan beat Ohio State on the field, I was done with this because
100%.
Because they beat you. You had the chance to shut them up. You didn't. Whether they still had signs or not, that's a shame on you, because you didn't change all of those heading into that game.
And I bet you they did.
Everything. And I'm sure they did. So for me, Ohio State could have shut Michigan and Michigan fans up that November of 2023. They did not. So to me, I was kind of done with this then. I'm just glad the official penalties are out and everybody can kind of move on now.
Yeah, so they got outed in the middle of the 2023 season, and then they finished the 2023 season by beating Ohio State. I'd be shocked if they were stealing signs after they got busted for stealing signs. So let's assume that those games were legitimate at the end of the year. So they beat Ohio State, beat either Purdue or Iowa in the Big Ten championship. Who cares? They weren't going to contend with Michigan no matter what. They then beat Alabama in the Rose Bowl legitimately, and then they then beat Washington in the championship legitimately. So I'm sorry, I don't really care that they were stealing signs the first 6 games of the year, whatever it was, against a bunch of schools that probably weren't going to be. Like, do they really need Bowling Green signs? No. So that part I'm not worried about. If they won the championship in 21 or 22, I'd probably feel differently about that.
Different.
But the championship that they won, they went on at least the important parts of that run legitimately. And for Buckeye fan, you then spun it around the next year, and now you won. And so you're the king of the hill. And so you're the reigning champ. And so for me, I'm kind of with you, man, where it's like done, over with. Michigan got off. Jim Harbaugh skated. I don't want to say he's like smelling like a rose, but the NFL wanted him. He wanted the NFL. He was able to escape all of this, not get punished. Again, my whole thing is catch him sooner, and then you can actually punish people.
For me, I think I would be okay with it. I had set my expectations really low on Thursday night. If the Sharon Moore thing wasn't the most absurd ruling I have ever heard. Who has ever heard of a 2-year show cause where you still get to coach? Yeah. Who has ever heard of splitting a suspension up across 2 seasons? And you get to pick the games you don't want to play in.
Well, and I think the added 1 game was the NCAA. If I remember reading this right, they said some of these sanctions go over 2 years, so it was right that the suspension should go over 2 years as well. I don't know. It's all ridiculous. The NCAA, though, whatever you think about all of this, really contradicted themselves in a lot of it. So we will talk about that next. It's Fan Sports Sunday on The Fan.
At Metal Supermarkets, we're all about getting you and your crew to quit in time sooner. That's why our service is a cut above. You see, no matter the project, we'll get you to the right metal, shape, and grade. Cut to any size, ready real fast. And yeah, we'll deliver, leaving plenty of time for the important things, like opening an ice-cold can of aluminum. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience store for metal.
Got one of those days that never stops? Try a stop at Speedway and refresh the vibe with 69-cent large big gulp drinks. Get 69-cent large big gulp drinks at Speedway with Speedy Rewards. The convenience stores of Speedway. Valid through 8/26/25. See app for full terms.
And we're back talking all things connectivity with Spectrum customers Kev and Melissa. So tell us, how long have you been with Spectrum and how important is a reliable internet connection?
We've been Spectrum customers since we moved 12 years ago. The first thing we did is sign up for Spectrum Internet.
You get a lease, you get Wi-Fi.
Yes,
immediately.
We need that. We had Spectrum Wi-Fi before our couch got here.
That's true. That's a true story.
I'll sleep on the floor, but I won't go to bed with no internet.
You heard it here. Switch to Spectrum now.
At Dick's Sporting Goods, we have always believed sport has the power to change lives. Community happens here. Change happens here. Sport happens here. Introducing the all-new Dick's House of Sport, bringing new experiences, new services, and unrivaled selection from the top brands to a new place Polaris can call home. Featuring a rock wall, a HitTrax multi-sport cage, and 3 golf hitting bays. Dick's House of Sport, now open at Polaris Fashion Place.
Here's 3 reasons to buy your Blue Jackets ticket plans for the 25-26 season. 1, pick your seat and pick your games. 2, plans start at just 11 games. 3, flexible payment plans. Act now. Visit bluejackets.com/tickets. 1, 2, 3. Here at the Fan is always football o'clock. Proud to be your home of the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. The Fan. Live, local, and still slightly drunk.
I'm not drunk, all right? I just have a speech impediment.
This is Fan Sports Sunday.
Welcome back in. Ryan Baker, Cole Bartemes, Nate Pooterball with you.
Vacated wins are pointless.
I agree with that. Some people on the YouTube chat don't believe so. And like I said, I always say 1999 Final Four run for Ohio State. I still remember Michael Redd and Scooney Penn and Ken Johnson and George Reich and those guys beating St. John's, beating Auburn, playing Rip Hamilton and Khalid El-Amin in the Final Four that year. There's no banner up in the shot anymore with 1999 on it, but I still remember it.
Yeah. So does that mean that it didn't happen? No, you punish the future. You don't punish the past because the past happened.
Yeah, so I don't know. And listen, the NCAA and all of this really, really contradicted themselves.
Go for it.
So these are from the sanctions themselves. A postseason ban is required in this case. Not suggested, not would be appropriate. Required in this case. Michigan's case is a level 1 aggravated. The bylaws say establishing that postseason bans are reserved for level 1 cases that lack exemplary cooperation and shall be prescribed in a level 1 aggregated case. Michigan is also a repeat violator. This in the bylaws. Repeat violator status is sufficient grounds to prescribe a postseason ban, even in cases where the institution earned exemplary cooperation. Giving those facts, a multi-year postseason ban would be appropriate. This is the NCAA in their findings of that, saying that a postseason ban is required and that a multi-year ban would be appropriate.
Just one problem.
Then the NCAA also states, to the greatest extent possible, that penalties imposed for infractions do not punish programs and student athletes not involved nor implicated in the infractions. The panel determines that a postseason ban would unfairly penalize student athletes for the actions of coaches and staff who are no longer associated with the Michigan football program. Thus, a more appropriate penalty is an offsetting financial penalty.
Hot take, I agree with that last part. I actually do agree with the part about not punishing people who were not there for that.
Players can transfer, I don't care.
And that's what I was just going to say is I have always been a do not punish kids now for things that happened in the past, kids can leave nowadays.
All right. You may have got me.
So a postseason ban to me would have been like an ultimate punishment in this for Michigan, actually a 2-year postseason ban, because guess what? If Bryce Underwood wants to play in the college football playoff, he can transfer tomorrow, and it doesn't matter.
But there's just one problem. The NCAA is not in charge of the college football playoff.
You're absolutely correct.
It's not called the NCAA football tournament like it is with basketball. It's called NCAA tournament in basketball. It's generically, it's like the video game. They had to get rid of the video game because it had all the NCAA ties and the players and blah, blah, blah. And then they bring back the game and call it generically college football. That is the college football playoff.
You're correct.
Not associated.
But I'm guessing that in this situation, if they would have said a postseason ban, I'm guessing that would have already been agreed upon with the college football playoff and all the parties, because the college football playoff, we can say what we want. The college football playoff committee is all of these heads of schools and athletic directors and presidents. So I'm guessing it would have said, hey, and I'm guessing they're the same people that are on this committee of infractions, basically, for the NCAA, at least the same kind of people. So I'm guessing it would have been agreed upon if there was a postseason ban, no college football playoff. I can't say that for certain, but I'm guessing that would, if they would have went that route, they would have done that. So to me, you punished players, and I don't think Tattoo-gate and this are the same thing. Like, I don't want to put those, I don't want to mention that much in this conversation, but I'm just saying because it happened to Ohio State then, I'm just going to liken it to. Yeah. That was way worse in punishing people that weren't involved than something like this would, because now these kids can go and leave. That wasn't the case 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Let's even bring up USC with the Reggie Bush stuff. Like the USC 2010 team suffered for what happened in 04 and 05. They couldn't leave. Yeah. Now they can leave.
Penn State could. After the Paterno-Sandusky thing, they did waive the 1-year transfer and let everybody go. And Silas Redd went to USC and all that stuff. You guys make a good point. I haven't thought of a counter argument yet, so it's 2 against 1 right now. I'm back against the wall.
And Nate, I've heard you mention this specific instance a couple times with the University of Akron.
Akron is currently serving a 1-year postseason ban for academic ineligibility in 2023.
Akron is also serving a postseason ban because they're not good enough to make it there. Separate issue, but
I don't think it's a separate issue though with this. The NCAA has proven to us over time there's one thing they have cared about more than anything else, and that is protecting amateurism. The NCAA at all costs throughout the year has tried to protect amateurism. And what were the 2 things in amateurism that they could cling to? One is impermissible benefits, i.e., Tattoo-gate.
Yeah.
That's the only time I really want to bring up Tattoo-gate in this argument is that. And then what else do you have to do to have amateurism? You have to play school. So you have to be eligible. So the NCAA has always been hard on those things, even though they've had to rein back here on the benefits and the money and the NIL with all of that stuff because it's been sued out of them, right?
Yeah.
But the one thing that the NCAA has clung on to harder than anything is amateurism, because they do not want to have contracts and unions with these players. That's the thing they've held on to. So who cares about cheating on the field? But if you didn't get the right grade in class, or if you, before NIL was around, you traded something for services, we're going to get you because that's amateurism.
Yeah, and so the days of the NCAA are numbered at this point. I think we don't know when, but people have been talking about that for a long time. Like, at what point do the schools just say, hey, we can kind of like govern ourselves conference by conference? And then basically what you would have happen is that all the conferences would need to like come up with some sort of alliance with one another, and then you'll just create like a new NCAA with just different names, different people, and different rules the way that you want. And so the future of that is interesting. Whether or not that affects the actual play on the field, I don't know. It depends. That's more of like a conference realignment, conference expansion conversation. But as it pertains to this, man, I don't know.
The two other things I want to bring up in this point where the NCAA has really dropped the ball here. The Big Ten took swift action against the Wolverines, suspending Jim Harbaugh for the final 3 games of the 2023 regular season after determining that the Wolverines violated the Big Ten sportsmanship policy. The Big Ten's official notice of disciplinary action revealed that the NCAA told the Big Ten it knew and could prove Stallions violated NCAA rules by coordinating a vast off-campus, in-person advanced scouting scheme involving of network individuals. If you could, without a doubt, prove why at that time would you let them play in the postseason that year and for a national championship? You knew then, and you could prove it. Now, could you do a total investigation? Probably not. But if you say you knew and could prove, that means you knew at that time they were cheating. Here's the second thing, and this is from the NCAA report. The true scope and scale of the scheme, including the competitive advantage it conferred with, will never be known due to individuals' intentional destruction and withholding of materials and information. This goes back to Connor Stallions admitting that he broke his phone, he threw it in the bottom of the river,
GTA
and he
style.
also threw his hard drive in the bottom of the river. Well, if we
and Sharon Moore deleting all the text messages and breaking the phone.
So if we go back to what we read earlier in these bylaws, it talks about exemplary cooperation and no cooperation. Well, guess what? If you don't cooperate, we are nailing your feet to the fire. What happens in every law show you've ever seen? Hey, you cooperate with us, this will be easier.
It's all about deals.
We'll give you this kind of deal. We'll give you this plea.
It's called a plea, yeah.
They're going to the destroying evidence. Who cares then if you can prove
and they got a plea
what
anyway.
effect it had on the field?
And they got a plea anyway. You can pick your own suspension, but we'll add one more game. Go ahead. You can coach against Oklahoma if you want to.
Stallions' multiple and repeated failures to cooperate are some of the worst the Committee on Infractions has ever seen. Why should that keep you from imposing a penalty on them? If anything, it should make you hit them harder.
If you're Michigan, why don't you just rehire Connor Stallions on Monday? What are the NCAA going to do about it? Nothing.
We got to do a show cause. Or maybe you don't because Sharon Moore did nothing.
Sharon Moore does it, and even if they do, it's going to be 3 years later before the NCAA decides to get around to it.
Yeah, what happes if the NCAA suspends somebody and then they just show up and play or coach anyway?
They can't ban you from a stadium.
Yeah, what if you're just there? Like, what if Sharon Moore gets suspended and he's like, actually, you know what? I'm coaching on Saturday. I'm coaching weeks 3 and 4.
He's pulling the Bobby Valentine.
Yeah. He comes out in the glasses and fake nose and mustache.
Or he's got the Central Michigan outfit that Connor Stallions had.
Yeah, dude, that's one of the most ridiculous things out of this whole thing is like these people who are pretending like they're breaking news. We can now confirm that Connor Stallions was on the sideline at the Central Michigan and Michigan State game.
We all saw the pictures.
I knew that 2 years ago. Got it.
Well, and obviously the NCAA knew too because they said that they knew it and could prove it. But let's wait 2 years to bring down penalties after a national championship has already been.
Who wants to bet Central Michigan gets a bowl ban?
Oh, Central Michigan's going to hit hard in this because you know why? They don't bring in money like the University of Michigan does.
And
they won't have their conference commissioner going to bat for them because, hey, we've got Big Noon we need to fill and obligate. And Ohio State can't do it every week. They can do it almost every week, but they can't do it every week.
It's all corrupt, Baker.
I mean, the NCAA...
It's the roller coaster of this thing.
I know.
What were Buckeye fans expecting, honestly?
I'm one who is stuck up for the NCAA more than others because I feel like you've got to have some kind of governing body. You've got to have somebody running this stuff. But there's a lot of contradiction and hypocrisy here in these statements saying it is required, but we will not.
So I'm trying to think. I'm actually playing this scenario out in my head. Like, what happens if Sharon Moore gets suspended and literally just shows up and coaches anyway? Like, would the refs like throw him out of the game? But I think the refs are governed by the conferences. Because think about it, they always announce this is an ACC crew, this is a Big 12 crew. So what do the referees care about the
I'm guessing at that
NCAA?
point the Big Ten, you would hope.
Oh.
The Big Ten would step in and say, "Hey guys, let's don't do this. Let's
We're
not
still
do any
partners with
more
them."
of this. Whatever." But who knows? A lot of contradictory there in the report and what actually happened. But again, as you said, Cole, what did we expect? Hey, we mentioned the Big Ten. We know they are all about money. They have a college football plan they've thrown out to make more money. I hate it. We'll talk about it next. Fan Sports Sunday on The Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic.
Oh, yes.
Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Saving money on your next project when you shop at Menards. Give any room a fresh look with beautiful Mohawk tile. They feature ceramic, porcelain, mosaic, and glass tiles. Transform your walls with Sandrio 3x12 ceramic tile. This versatile tile adds a handcrafted touch to any space and is available in 5 colors. Pick them up today on sale. Now through August 24th. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Burnt out, foggy, running on caffeine and willpower? It's time for a reset. Hydrate Me Med Spa brings next level wellness to Central Ohio with medical grade IV drips, NAD Plus for brain and energy support, and ozone therapy to detox at the cellular level. This isn't just self-care, it's a system upgrade. Feel sharper, sleep deeper, perform better. Now open in Dublin, Grandview, New Albany, and Granville. Book your drip at hydratememedspa.com.
Matty Ice here from McDaniel GM Superstore in Marion. I recently brought a brand new Chevy Trax from McDaniel GM Superstore. It was by far the best car purchase I have ever made. And right now, you can get a 2025 Trax at McDaniel GM Superstore for as low as $20,995. They will treat you like family, just like they treated me like family. They're just a short drive north off Route 23 in Marion, or you can visit McDanielGMSuperstore.com. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
Get an ECO.
Aaron? Yeah, Jerry? Do you know what I like best about our plumbers? Tell me. No matter how difficult, no matter how messy, no matter what it takes, they just dive right in and fix it.
Get an ECO.
They dive right in. Yes, they dive right in. We've got scuba diving plumbers.
Get an ECO.
You know they don't literally dive in, right? Well, of course not. Not yet, anyway. The pipes are too small.
Get an ECO.
They won't be able to literally dive in until I finish inventing my eco miniaturizing ray. But until then, our plumbers will just keep on figuratively diving right in. Yes, that would be best. Jerry, do you know what I like best about our plumbers? Tell me. They're so good at their job, they make it look easy.
Get an ECO. Get an ECO.
Scuba diving plumbers, genius electricians, and better than average HVAC technicians. GetEco.com.
Let me ask you something. Is your money doing everything it can for you?
I don't know. How would I know?
Is it automatically saving for special events and keeping you posted on its progress? Like at Huntington Bank?
Oh, no.
Is it tracking your spending so you can make the best choices at the mall?
Nope.
Or setting limits on your teenager's debit card?
Definitely not.
Then it could certainly be doing more.
Yeah, sure sounds like it.
Let's get more from money. Switch to Huntington Bank. Welcome. Eligibility requirements apply. Some features may require enrollment.
Join Rothman and Ice every Thursday at 2:30 for Gold Jacket Thursday.
Presented by the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
A new Hall of Famer joins the show every week, but not OJ because he's dead and probably a murderer. The Fan.
Common Man here. Our friends at Care Heating and Cooling in Lenox are feeling the love. They're doing something extraordinary for Central Ohio families. The Lenox Feel the Love program provides deserving families and individuals with indoor heating and cooling equipment as well as installation at no cost. You can nominate someone who you think is deserving at feelthelove.com. Nominations will be accepted through August 31st. Let's give back to our hometown heroes. Selfless neighbor, maybe who always puts everybody first. Community leaders like teachers, firefighters, and volunteers, or just families facing hard times. Whoever you think is worthy, send a nomination. As of 2024, the Feel the Love program has completed more than 350 installations with help of dealers like Care Heating and Cooling. Our friends at Lenox donate all the equipment, and Care donates the labor and materials, and the installs are done at no cost. Remember, the deadline is August 31st. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING or book an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com when you need a company you can trust.
Delaware County Veterans Services, here for those who served. Located on the ground floor of the historic courthouse in downtown Delaware, our team of veteran county veteran service officers is ready to help you access VA benefits, emergency financial assistance, dental and medical grants, transportation, and more. Need a ride to a VA appointment? Facing a financial emergency? Are you or your spouse simply looking for answers? Then give Delaware County Veterans Services a call. 740-833-2010 to schedule an appointment. Delaware County Veterans Services.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here. Looking for bold flavors and award-winning spirits? High Bank Distillery Co. is your destination for handcrafted cocktails, locally inspired dishes, and Whiskey War, the nationally recognized whiskey. Whether you're going for brunch, dinner, or just a drink, High Bank brings the perfect mix of craft and comfort. Stop by their Grandview, Gahanna, and Westerville locations this week. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank Distillery Co., where great spirits meet even better company. Learn more at highbankco.com.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Patriot Air Comfort Systems in Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep your home comfortable. The Fan.
During weekend programming, pants are optional.
Look at my butt!
However, leather chairs may have been a bad choice. You're listening to Fan Sports Sunday.
So I will give Tony Petitti in the Big Ten credits.
Wow. Save that audio.
In one sense here, where they have made it, Tony Petitti has made it very clear that the Big Ten is about one thing, and that is about making money. Mm-hmm. The Big Ten has shown we want to make the most money possible, and it makes sense, right? Tony Petitti comes from a television background, and he wants to make as many television shows as possible because he knows it will bring more money into his conference. And in the grand scheme of things, we all say that this is a business now. College sports are a business. And what's the thing in business that's the best? Is making the most money. Yeah. So Tony Petitti, and he had all of the Big Ten coaches in lockstep at Big Ten Media Day talking about they wanted the automatic qualifiers for the college football playoffs. They wanted everybody doing 9 conference games. They wanted a big out-of-conference game. And listen, a lot of us want these games like Ohio State and Texas to continue. The other thing the Big Ten said is they wanted to kind of take it out of a committee's hands. That's why they wanted the automatic qualifiers. Well, Pete Thamel of ESPN broke the news that the Big Ten has considered a massive college football expansion. It would increase the college football playoff from 12 teams to either 24 or 28. The proposal would eliminate conference title games and give significant automatic bids to the Power 4 leagues. In a 28-team model, the Big Ten is proposing 7 automatic bids for the Big Ten and the SEC. The ACC and Big 12 would each get 5. Then there would be 2 automatic bids for Group of 5 teams and 2 at-large teams. This would also expand home game revenue. If you go to 20 teams, 28 teams, wherever it is, you would have to have a lot of more for home games in the college football playoff.
Which was really cool last year. That part I did like. Now, all those games were crap, but those games being live on campus was cool.
I understand this is going to make money. I understand that we're going to watch. I absolutely hate this. Nate brought up earlier that the 7th place team in the Big Ten last year was a 7-5 Michigan team. You can't tell me that most year there are 2 teams in the ACC or the Big 12 that deserve to play for a national championship, let alone 5. It just blows my mind.
Yeah, this is a terrible idea because, as I mentioned earlier in the show, it used to be a big deal in college football, the race for number 1 in the rankings. And when number 1 would go down, it was a huge deal. And you were trying to figure out who was going to be number 1 in the new rankings. And you were waiting for the AP poll to come out the next day. This is really, really damaging the regular season of college football. And I also don't like the automatic qualifiers. I certainly get why they want that because it serves their interest. And the thing that bothers me about all this, too, expanding, I was okay with going from 2 to 4 because you could convince me, especially back then when the conferences were a little bit more spread out as they're all kind of consolidating themselves right now. But you could convince me back then that the 3rd or 4th best team in the country would have been capable of winning a national championship. In no world is the 28th best team in college football, the sport where the talent disparity is greater than any other sport that you can find. College football. The 28th team is never winning a national championship. And I know this is easy to say right after the 7th and 8th team just went at it in the national championship. But the further that you go, and whatever justification you could possibly come up with to expand from 2 to 4 or 4 to 12, whatever logic, the money logic certainly is what they're going to be leaning on. You could justify that for anything. So where does it stop? Because if you go from 12 to 24 or from 12 to 28, at what point does this turn into college basketball and you got 64? Because who's stopping you?
You're absolutely right. And listen, there could be a point where they try to make it to that and keep expanding it. I will go back to this. And I remember one year USC was like a 3-loss team, but they had some injuries. And at the end of the year, they were playing really good. And some people were trying to argue, well, USC, they could beat anyone in the country right now. Like, injuries are part of football and your team, and it's always special when Ohio State wins a national championship. But the one thing I will think about 2014 always is how special that it was that Ohio State was on their third-string quarterback.
Yeah.
And they still won the national championship.
Cardale Jones walks on water.
That's just kind of always been special to me, to how good that team was, that they could do it with their third string quarterback. And listen, I know injuries are a thing and whatnot. And we talked about Ohio State, and they did not perform like they should have in the regular season last year. I think most people thought, though, Ohio State was at the beginning of the year, one of the 4 best teams in the country, and at the end of the year, one of the 4 best teams in the country, even though they were ranked 8th. Listen, I think this is crazy. I don't think we're going to get there anytime soon, but I could see a world where we get to this at some point, and I really dislike it. Hey, there's some Buckeyes that had some big weekends in NFL preseason. I know it's just preseason, but some Buckeyes are producing. We'll talk about that next. Fan Sports Sunday on The Fan.
Oh, hey, the best football team in the country's on the best radio station in the country. Congratulations, Buckeyes. Here's to 100 more years together. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan.
Imagine what it would feel like getting tackled head-on by a 240-pound linebacker. You'd be in serious pain, right? But if you're unbuckled in a car crash, at just 50 miles an hour, you become a deadly projectile that can slam into other passengers with 8 times that amount of force. Don't let someone else take the hit. Buckle up and visit buckleup.ohio.gov to learn more. Brought to you by ODOT and ODPS.
My name is Andre Roberts, and I'm a defender for the Ohio State men's soccer team. When I was in 7th grade, I fractured my kneecap. That was my first experience with Orthopedic One. My physician came in the room and delivered the diagnosis, and with the confidence that he had, it reassured me that I would be okay. And they definitely did a good job of knowing as a soccer player when I needed confidence, when I needed to be pushed, and they got me right back to where I was before my injury. Orthopedic One understood what it means to be a soccer player.
The summer event is still on at Germain Honda of Dublin, and with football back, Rich is ready to dominate the competition. You can lease the sleek 2025 Honda Accord LX for as low as $249 a month or finance with 3.99% APR. Upgrade to adventure with the 25 Honda Pilot Sport all-wheel drive. Lease starting at $429 per month or 4.49% APR. Visit Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road, just south of 270. See dealer for full details.
Keep your summer fun going at Toyota's National Sales Event. Now through September 2nd, get a stylish new 25 Corolla with 4.99 APR financing or 5.99 on Corolla Hybrid. Excludes Corolla Cross and GR Corolla. Or lease a gas-powered Corolla LE for $199 a month for 36 months with $36.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix that's guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
Save big on eggs. Right now, 18-count cartons of large grade A Kroger brand eggs are on sale for just $3.49 each with your digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone, and I've got a public service announcement for your taste buds. The legendary Sanders Bumpy Cake is finally here in Ohio. Yes, that Sanders chocolate fudge bumpy cake. Rich devil's food cake topped with smooth buttercream bumps and smothered in thick chocolatey fudge. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. It's the dessert you didn't know you needed until now. Perfect for your next barbecue, tailgate, or a family function. And if you've never had one of these, well, trust me, once you try it, you're going to be hooked. Grab your Sanders bumpy cake today at Kroger or Meijer and taste what the hype's all about.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
And I'm Nate Pooterball. Ohio State held its final scrimmage at camp and then named the captains for the 2025-2026 season. Caleb Downs and Sonny Styles represent the defense, and Austin Saravelv and Brandon Ennis from the offense. Sonny Styles became the 6th Block O recipient in team history. The Cleveland Browns knocked off the Eagles in preseason action 22-13. KJ Henry had a pick 6 in the third quarter to lead the way to victory. Brown starter Dylan Gabriel was 13 of 18 for 143 yards, but tossed a costly 75-yard pick 6. The Reds blew another lead to the Brewers, losing in 11 innings 6-5. The Brewers set a franchise record 14th straight win and knocked off the Reds for the 13th straight time. The Reds will try to salvage the series at 140, now a game and a half back in the wild card. Catch the action immediately following Fan Sports Sunday. The Braves blew out the Guardians last night in Cleveland 10-1. Michael Harris is second to hit a homer in the victory for the Braves. The Guardians now sit 2.5 back in the AL wild card. They'll wrap up the series today at 140. Breaking sports news, what happens on the Fan.
Sports Talk Weekend Style. You're listening to Fan Sports Sunday.
Final segment of Fan Sports Sunday, Reds and Brewers coming up next here about 8 minutes from now. Cole, I was mentioning to you in the break, a couple of people were getting on me in the YouTube chat during the call-in show because that I said that Ohio State team did not deserve last year. They did not play like a team that deserved to be to have a shot at the national championship.
And you're right.
Now, last year, things changed, right? Everything went to 12. That was the rules we were playing by. They got in, and then they won. But they were a team that I feel like did not play up to their potential until after that Michigan loss. And you had a come-to-Jesus meeting. And then they might have won probably the best 4-game run ever. I still have a lot of I still hold fondly the 3-game run in 2014. With Cardell and the Big Ten championship, the Michigan game, the Big Ten championship game, and the playoff with Oregon and Alabama, or Alabama, then Oregon. But that was a great run by Ohio State. And that was the Ohio State team we thought we would see all year last year in the national championship run there. But through most of the season, and I'll even give them, they played pretty good in that first Oregon game. That was a heck of a game down to the wire at Oregon's home field. I still believe Oregon and Ohio State were the two most talented teams last year, the two best teams. But there were a lot of games where you're just like, what's going on here with this team? And then when they got to where they needed to, they did what they needed to and won the ultimate goal. I think there's always a difference, though, between most talented or best and deserving. And I don't think Ohio State, and again, this is just my opinion. I love it that they won it. I'm celebrating it. But until they got there, they had not played great.
Oh, no, I know. And look, you know me. I'm a Notre Dame fan.
Yeah.
Do you know what the first thing I said to Bodie Wells was when I saw him after the Northern Illinois game? The very first thing that I said to him, you know we're still making the playoffs, right? And, of course, Bodie being Bodie, like, thinking that he's, like, a player on the team was like, hey, man, I'm just taking it 1 week at a time. Like, give me, like, a total...
Coach speak.
Yeah, gives me a total coach speak answer, which is weird. But I was like, hey, man, we're making the playoffs. And we shouldn't, by the way, just to be clear. So it goes both ways. Ohio State didn't play a regular season that warranted a chance at a national championship, and neither did Notre Dame. But because of the expansion, they got in anyway. And lo and behold, look, I'm not going to like invalidate what happened because those games took place. Ohio State won them. Notre Dame won them. They met in the championship. So like, I'm not saying, well, a 4-team playoff, who knows who would. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that for every single year that goes on of just like retroactively. Well, you know, this team actually would have won the championship if it were a 4-team. I'm not doing that. But you're absolutely right. This goes back to our whole point. College football playoff expansion is really damaging one of the the most important regular season in any sport. Baseball gets made fun of because they have 162 games, and I love it because you got games going every single day. You're following your team, and it sucks when they have an off day. NBA and NHL, 82 games. They got the NFL regular season where every single week there's like a different best team in the league, and you're kind of going over your rankings. Like, college football had the best regular season in sports. And the more that they expand the playoffs, the more they're damaging their regular season. I like that college football was unique in that way, even though my team benefited from it. If Notre Dame didn't make the championship last year, all they would be was 11-1, missed the playoffs, and you lost to Northern Illinois the year after you lost to Marshall, and then it goes so on and so on. So my team benefited from it, but it really damages the value. Like, dude, this Ohio State-Texas game, depending on the year, would be like the entire season right out of the gate. And you don't have that now. This is now like this is like a warm-up. This is like a test to see, okay, who are the new guys? How are they fitting in? What are the rotations going to be? You might have some guys at different positions and figure stuff. What's CJ Hicks going to look like? This is all like a warm-up for like down the line for December, and it didn't used to be that way. And I'm sorry, I don't, get off my lawn, whatever. But come on, man.
Well, and there was no doubt in the past the loser of an Ohio State-Texas in week 1 if they lost, they couldn't have another hiccup along the way.
Yeah.
That's not the case this year. Whoever loses this game, they could probably lose another one during the year and still make the college football playoff. And I don't love that mentality. I just like you said, that every game mattered so much. Speaking of some of those Buckeyes that were such a big part of that run last year, Travion Henderson, I don't think anybody's shocked, but he's looked the part so far with New England. I kind of love that 1-2 punch they'll have with Trey and Ramondre Stevenson. 4 carries for 20 yards for Trey. Another touchdown in New England's win over Minnesota this week. And then I know it was against your Steelers. Emeka didn't put up a lot of numbers, but he had kind of a highlight reel touchdown catch for his first one. And again, Emeka, I know a lot of people are like, oh, man, Emeka went to the perfect spot with Tampa. And maybe he did, because not everything has to rely on Emeka right away. They still got Mike Evans. They've still got Chris Godwin. They've still got Jalen McMillan.
Yeah, that's a busy room.
Otten. Yeah, they've got a bunch there. But Emeka's one of those guys that I think he was one of 3 guys in the draft that were bust-proof. I think Emeka is a guy that would I think you could say, oh, Emeka went to the Lions. Oh, Emeka went to the Patriots. Oh, Emeka went to the Chiefs. Emeka went to the Bengals. Wherever, and he would have been a perfect fit.
Who are the other ones who you thought were bust-proof?
Mason Graham, who the Browns drafted.
Funny enough, he's the one who everyone's talking about looks terrible in camp and looks out of shape and whatever.
Yeah, but he's a guy that I just think, I agree he's a 10, 12-year Pro Bowl type player. And the other one was Derek Harmon, who your Steelers drafted.
Really?
Because I saw what he did to that Ohio State offensive line last year with Oregon. I just think he's a guy. And again, bust-proof, what are we talking about? Bust-proof, I just think they're guys that are, barring injury, 10, 12, right there, Pro Bowl level type players. I think those 3 were just legit.
Okay, this was not planned, but it's cool. What about Tyler Warren? Do you think, because he was one of the best tight end, like literally in my life, college tight ends in my life. But the thing that scares me about him, and the reason I didn't think he was bust proof, is because it took him 5 years of college to get anywhere close to that point. Yeah. So I don't think he's a prodigy.
I think sometimes tight ends can get lost, right, in offenses a lot of times. So I think a tight end is something where sometimes, even though they can transcend.
The scheme specific?
Yeah, it's scheme specific. I don't know. Tyler Warren's a good one. And listen, he's probably going to be a long-time, really good pro. I just thought those 3 guys, they were guys that could get drafted by any team, any system, and they would be fine. One other thing I thought that was cool for former Buckeyes, Damon Arnett. He's trying to rehab himself. He's with the Houston Texans right now. He got an interception yesterday in their win over the Panthers. CJ was also pretty good for his limited time, 6 of 8, 44 yards and a touchdown. But I thought that was pretty cool to see Damon Arnett trying to make a comeback in the league.
Yeah, and he's not someone who I expected anything of. And it kind of just happened like out of nowhere, that news break that, and I think it happened mid-show on Rothman and Ice, where we were doing the show, and they're talking, and then news breaks that Damon Arnett's interested, and then there's a team interested in him, and now here we are. He might have a shot.